High-grade blue frame, second L. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs, GundamReviews.net, continuing my look at the unexpected, but happy to be here, high-grade Gundam Astray blue frame, second L, guy's most famous suit in its most famous configuration. Let's see what the empty plates are going to be resulting in. And when the blue frame is all put together, but before he's going to be getting armed up, you'll still be impressed by how many details they can pack into a small 1/44th kit here. Thanks to that inner-outer frame there. The feet seem to be just the right shape with the blue parts there. The legs, having the blue exposed on the four sides, is fantastic. The backs of the hips, everything is looking good there. The backpack is going to be a little bit dull until you actually plug in the big sword, whether it's in flight unit or not there. But when you see the shoulders, the orange trim there, and all the details that are going to be built into the upper body there, with the shoulder parts being particularly striking, especially when you see them from the front. The blue seals don't look bad there, but it's that color orange there, the blue seals on the chest, and just the overall sculpt of the chest and head that make this guy look almost real grade quality. So for mobility, what are you going to be able to do? Well, you can kick the legs forward there. You'll see that the knife might get slightly in the way, but it's just going to twist itself out of the way there. You can get the arm up, and you can go like this if you want full side splits. You're not going to be getting a 180 there. The knife doesn't help, and you can see the way the waist armor there wants to fall out. For the knee bend there, you'll notice that this one went very nice and smooth, and it's going to be looking good. And on the back, you've got that white part there. You see an armor piece just fall off for the actual knee itself. Now that I've already moved it once, it seems like it's going to be just a little tricky to get it to go back inside again. And the ankles are going to move well side to side and forward to back as well, despite the fact that they're just one solid piece. The upper body is off to a Chuck Norris workout, as you can already see that he can ab crunch forward. He can also go back there, of course, that's part of that, is just moving down here the waist section. But overall, it's still pretty good quality, as you can see that he will stay in place when you tilt him forward back, and that's just fantastic overall. The arms themselves here, once you've actually got the shoulders on, you can see that the shoulders are going to come up here, so you wouldn't get much more because it would be bumping into the V-fin there. You can rotate this all around. It's going to be a little bit awkward, and you'll see some separation there from the actual shoulder itself. This part here for the elbow, you can bring it up, but you're not going to be getting anything like a 180 because you've got these parts of the shoulders which are poorly deckled here, and they're just going to be getting in the way. However, the white decals on this part of the bicep are looking good, and that blue part there, again, the only thing we miss is the multicolored digits there. And for a quick comparison, here he is next to the blue wolf instead of the white wolf, as this is just going to be a painted up Gundam Age kit over here. You can see that overall you are going to have some bulk there with the blue frame, mostly in that upper body, as that's going to be helped by both the knives on the hips and just the oversized shoulders, especially when you see those white flaps hanging down below and that wide V insect-like antenna he's got. But if he really wants to stack up with the Gundam Seed Boys here, he's going to need a lot more backpack there, as you can take the big sword here and take this tactical arms, get it neatly in place so that everything gets ready to get attached onto the back. And it's an interesting docking mechanism back here, as you're actually going to have two pegs that are going to slide in there and then two smaller ones down there, where the blue is going to be attaching into the black parts there. You're also going to be able to rotate these around if they're not exactly at the angle of your liking. Nonetheless, it's a little tricky to get it in, but once you do, it feels quite secure. And Seed backpacked up here, you can see that you're going to have a totally different effect, especially if you're looking at it on a rotating base here, or from the side or from the back. Right now, I've just sort of gone with the same angle that it's going to be sitting at naturally there. You've also got these two parts which are going to be added on to the Gatling gun hanging off there. But overall, the looks are going to be looking good because of the details that went into it. Especially my favorite part has to be that white plastic there on the outside. And though I complain about some of the other seals, those orange seals, no complaints there whatsoever. And so far, surprisingly few weight issues there, as pretty much once you put it on and just adjust the legs back a little bit, he's going to have that nice center of gravity. However, you're not going to see as much of this as I expected if you're looking at it straight on. That can be fixed, though, if you want to cheat downwards and then pull them out. They won't look as good from the back, but they are going to be a little bit more visible there from the front. And now to more of the like-with-like comparisons here, at least in terms of the series, as we've got Gundam Seeds, firstly Gundam the Strike, especially with his Ale Striker pack on there, to go with the blue frame, the original bad guy slash frenemy of Lo in the manga spin-off NB. Overall, when I see these two guys next to each other, I've got to say that I think the blue frame might have the edge in terms of overall coolness and coloring, that's going to be helped by the fact that he's got those nice 3 colors there in short order, all both in the shoulders, on the chest, and in the back of that wingspan. And it's going to be the legs that I think really bring him to life. I've always been a big fan of the seed design, but it's going to come across as just slightly plain compared to the always more gaudy manga versions there. However, the Ale Striker pack is definitely going to be holding up in terms of size. In terms of overall, though, I think they're both looking great, but you wouldn't know unless you were looking at the 2 tones of white that he doesn't have, that he's not a real grade. So let's fix that here with the high-grade version of the Strike. Remember, this is a very old mold for the body, although he is going to have quite a few paint details that I've just added on with an old $2 Gundam marker there. But the weapons, in terms of the sword and the launcher packs, are going to be new. In this case, you can definitely see a lot more of the cartooniness. Thank you, BB Senshi, for making the perfect Strike into the cannon monster that he is today. I've always thought that the red frame is a nice complement for the Ale Strike, and Freedom is sort of better here for the blue frame just due to the colors of their wings. But with the Freedom Gundam, you're going to see a little bit more of the real grade details than I think you do on the Strike, just because of the amount of lining that's both on the body and the 2 tones there, and the details in the weapons. However, on your shelf, these guys can all make a nice retelling of that now 10-year-old classic story. But everything that's old is new again, as this kit is actually supposed to be from Gundam Seed Destiny Astray. With the B coming, we've basically got Destiny instead of just the old classic Seed there. So he's going to be a little bit more of a match for Shin Asuka here, as we've got him in the Destiny Gundam, which is going to take the best of the Striker packs and put them all on there. But in terms of overall visual impact, I think these guys look fantastic. Still a huge fan of the way this real grade looks. But again, if you wanted to have these guys face off on your shelf, this HG does not seem out of place, and it's only going to be better when you add at least 2 more color versions. When you go for posing, though, you're going to be a little bit surprised. There's not a lot of Gundams that don't come with a beam rifle or a shield or some combination there. I suppose for this guy, his main weapon is going to be the armored Schneiders there. They look good when they're on the hips, though they're in the way ever so slightly. But the orange part holding them on and the fact that they're actually made out of a few pieces of plastic, at least for the sheath, they're going to look good in hand. And you know that they'd look even better if you took a little bit of time and just added some nice silver paint on the top. But don't expect anything too fancy from the legs there, as you're going to be hampered by, especially if you wanted to do something like a cool ground Gundam kneel. But the knees are just going to be that little bit tricky there as you try to get the white on the inside there. You'll notice that the feet are going to be sticking up. And even though he's going to be doing a good job of moving side to side, he is still going to have that trouble with that center of gravity there, as you've got that big aerial pack on the back. Remember though, if you do have too much trouble, you could always prop it up with this. But with the tactical arms in flight form, you are going to have the ability to move these either off to either side to show some thrust as he gets blasting through space there. But if you're trying to recreate the kicking scenes that they're going to be showing around the package, you can do not a bad job of that. You're not really going to be noticing that armored Schneider coming out of the toe there unless you were to go and add some silver paint to that. And the other knives are certainly going to get lost as soon as you try to do it. Somewhat disappointing that for something where they're going to be focusing on the kicks like that you can't get the leg quite as twisted as it seems that you can on the package. It's the kind of thing where you know that they shot that at just the right angle. He's not going to be looking bad, but you know when you've got things like this, in terms of small butter knives and butter toes for weapons, you may just want to reach for something larger. That is something that can be easily rearranged if you pop off the tactical arms from the flight mode, and you have your choice of BFS, but now let's go BFG. And when Guy is doing this, you might as well get him on the phone, Sylvester Stallone. Expendables 3 is calling. This is actually looking pretty good, I'm surprised. First of all, the legs, they're going to be very easy to position because these black joints that are holding everything together seem to go very, very well. No problem at all, even if they're just sitting on a smooth surface like this rotating base. He's actually got the hand in the grip right there, and you could bring the second one over. It would probably be a little bit hard to actually hold it on there, but if somebody who can handle a gun like this with just one hand and look good doing it is definitely not the kind of man you ever want to meet. Yes, I think even the ground Gundam in a small 08 shield might be scared. But no, it was not a Gatling gun that's going to have the gold frame afraid of Lo and Guy here. Check this out, this is unsupported. Of course, it's probably going to go toppling over the minute that I actually try to turn it on. Nonetheless, he can hold it in a straight up position. He-Man, maybe that's Guy's other name. So unassisted here, I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed with this guy. He is going to have the same kind of problems that some other newer kits do. It's always great that you've got the fact that the hips can move this way, and rotate around, and the waist can go in every which direction, as can the shoulders, as can the actual shoulder armor. However, sometimes too much moving is just going to be a little bit hard to get him exactly where you want, especially if you want to try to keep him symmetrical. You'll always notice that one side is going to be just a little bit off. But nonetheless, outside of the fact that the manipulator hand cover wants to pop off on occasion here, he's doing a decent job in this upright position. And for a much more normal ground pose here, you can see that that base is going to be coming in handy there. Although the big problem is that you have to put the sword in, you can't have it flat. It's got to be pretty much up and down. If you don't mind it, it can lean over a little bit there. It's going to be hard if you want to try to incorporate two hands into the pose. But nonetheless, it's the kind of thing where you set it up on your shelf, you get it at just the right angle for your eyes. Perhaps you'll be putting the blue frame or the gold frame at the end, and maybe even the red frame at the handle end. And this is going to be something that's a lot of fun to show off. One simple horizontal pose like that seems like it's enough to make this kit full of fun. And even playing around with this guy for even just a moment, you've got lots of fun options. You can have straight up, you can have it over the shoulder, and then when you've got it out for that straight puncture shot, this guy, play options galore, all of them seem to be working. So that's going to wrap up my MS part here for the Gundam Astray Blue Frame 2nd L. Thank you, Lo, for getting everything just right. In terms of looks and posability, love to hear your thoughts down below. And of course, head on over to GundamReviews.net to let your vote be heard. Love to see which kits you guys are really enjoying and how many they're getting the percent of likes. Always love to hear it. Anyway, stick around for my final verdict where I'll have a list of good and bad things that I could pick out about this kit. And of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Thanks for watching. See ya. And now to turn it on. Not bad.